What do you got? Pick a topic. What are we talking about? Body count?
Oh, shit.
Or better yet, I know. Um, so, what's the biggest misnomer in being a high value man? Feels like what the definition of a high value man is, as far as earning a certain amount for a certain amount of time, being useful to the group, what you are, through training, through everything else, being visual, being a leader, all of those things apply. So, what's the biggest misnomer? What do people get wrong when high value man comes into somebody's conversation?
Well, I'm actually going to take it a complete different way to answer your question. And I think that because we're now bandwagoning the term high value man, people are using it. Men are now using it to their advantage. And that's what bothers me most about it, is because what was once an honor to be considered as, it's now becoming that joke, as men now think that they're so special that they can run 20 different women and not have to treat one right anymore.
Right.
So we basically came full circle to being less than as a man, to starting to finally come up in the world, to finally being worth a good father, being a good man, to being high value, only to drop our levels again because now high value men want to run all the women.
Right. So, and these aren't even guys who are actually high value men.
No.
Like, I'm hearing from some of the women that I've talked to, it turns into a whole thing where guys that don't have a whole lot of money are saying that they're high value men only because they're taking the concept and running with it.
Correct. And they're watering down the true effort of men. But I do think that you can be a high value person without money.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, depending on how you treat your woman, how you validate your woman, how you are there for your woman, it doesn't take any money to do that.
Right.
So the value to a woman is what we're talking about, right? So the one thing that Kevin Samuels always brought up was, you got to look at the masses, and the numbers are telling us these things. Okay, well, the majority of women value men differently than their pockets. It's the scallywag type of women who only want to judge men by money because that's what they're chasing.
Right. Right. Yeah, it does seem like that there's such a swing walk right or swing left sort of opinion to that. So it's like the guys all think that they're somehow worth in the same lexicon of value as far as earning power that you've amassed.
Correct.
And then the women, the overcorrection to that is there's a bunch of, I don't want to say like low grade women, but they're not at the level that you would select.
Correct.
Based off of what your options are, because of your earnings. And so now you see a whole lot of people who are completely out of their element.
Right. And this is where, again, the tricky part kicks in, right? Because you have a woman who goes after a high value man, meaning he has that salary, right? 6 figures. That's the number we like to toss around.
Yep, 6 figures.
Yeah. So what good does it do for a man to make 6 figures and have $80,000 in debt? We forget about that stuff. You can make a lot of money, but if you have a lot of debt, your money doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
And that's where we lose it again, because we're only focused on the 6 figures. Where you can have a man that makes $60,000 and be debt free. He's still gonna make more of a living, provide more for a woman than the man that's making 6 figures being in debt.
Right, but there's no There's nothing fantastical about that. Six figures seems to be like six figures now is almost like you were saying, like with high value man. Like high value man, I feel like the term now has become almost like a gimmick.
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
It's like a punchline. Same thing with six figures now. The amount of people who don't realize what six figures actually takes to generate,
right.
It's staggering to think that there's that many. Like I've seen interviews where women think that 50% and up of people make six figures, and
right.
there's a part of me that understands it, because if it's like women in Miami or like larger places where you're going to see wealth,
Right.
but to your point, it doesn't mean that they're actually that wealthy.
Not
being on
all.
a boat doesn't mean that you are boat wealthy. It just means
Not
you're on
all.
a boat.
Not at all. I can tell you, early on when I hit six figures, it sounded good, but it still didn't even compare to what I made in the military.
Mm.
Because by the time, and that was an adjustment going from the military to a salaried person, right? The tax bracket is naturally different. So they're taking a gob out of your six figure check.
Right.
Then you have 401k. If you really give a damn about your future, you're going to go in on that. So that's another couple of $1,000 at times, every couple of months taken out for that. So then you got your taxes, you got your 401k, then you got your medical benefits that comes out top of that. So at the end of the day, your six figures doesn't compare to what I was making in the military when all of that stuff was free.
Because okay, the free part of the military, and I'm sure you're just being taxed a hell of a lot less.
A hell of a lot less, because your housing allowance is not taxable. Your this, your that is not taxable. Even and then if you stay on base, so yeah, there's a lot of things that you can take for granted. So on one hand, you may not be making six figures, but that does not mean that there's no high value men in the military.
Right, right.
You see what I'm saying? So what he's saying. So that's where I mean, like those are the things that can really, that's needed to open up people's eyes,
right,
about this stuff before we start doing the cliche game.
So do you think there's people are women actually chasing the security and the resources, or do you think they're just chasing the name? Because to your point, you could find a guy who could essentially be making maybe not more in totality, but being able to provide more.
Correct.
At 60 to 80 versus correct, just having the name six figures.
Correct. And that's exactly it. Because again, you throw debt on there, six figures is gone. So the reflection that the women have to have nowadays, to me, is not necessarily seeking money, because that's a trap in itself. Because you're never gonna know what a man makes. I don't care. You're never gonna know how much a man makes until you're close enough to him to trust you to know how much he makes. So all these women who choose to chase clout, to chase money, you have no idea what's really being made, what's really real. I mean, I've fanned hundreds of dollars and fanned myself with them. They were all fake. It's play money. Because I value my own mighty dollar a little too much to play with it like that. But
right.
That's my point, right? It looks good. It looks good to show, looks good to shake, but in reality, you don't know what that man really makes. And so my goal in educating my children, especially my daughters, is not to chase the superficial, because what's going to come to you is going to come to you one way or the other. But what you want to come to you is the goodness that you earned seeking the right person.
Right. So with that said, would you say that the old Biggie adage is correct? More money, more problems?
It could be, because what you attract is different.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So more money, more problems doesn't seem to apply to married men.
So it's your lifestyle with
Correct.
the more money.
Correct. It's how you live, because now you got to watch your back. Because people will rob you for a Pinto just like they'll rob you for your Corvette. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's the places that you choose to hang up. You know, those spots, those clubs, those hoods, wherever you want to go, you're a mark.
So do you think, speaking, going on the married part of it, your take on the saying that high value men don't cheat, they exercise their options?
Again, we're I think that we play on the wording to suit us. You know what I mean? Cheating is still cheating at the end of the day.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's anytime you do anything deceptive to where you're not comfortable telling your partner you're doing, that's cheating.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
Facts.
you can exercise your rights all day long if she knows about it. If you come home and hey babe, I'm gonna go meet this girl I just met at the mall yesterday. I'm gonna take her out, probably spend some money on her, and we're gonna have a good time. Okay, honey, thanks for letting me know. Enjoy your son. That's not cheating, but it's also exercising your rights to do so.
Right.
We have to be honest, call it what it is, and not hide behind the game that we're allowed to do this because we're high value men.
Right. Right.
You see what I'm saying? That's where the game is starting to get watered down. Like I said, people want to toss it up, and they're taking advantage of the notion that they are now high value men. Therefore, they can do the other things that people like Kevin Samuel says you're entitled to now. No, just because you make money doesn't make you entitled.
Right. Um, it, yeah, that's a. I know he kind of went into more detail where he would say like you would work a deal out basically that you're providing this lifestyle for somebody who is now going to accept that this is what you potentially have the options to do. And the way I kind of look at it is like I'm not a high value man, but I know that I could do the same things, maybe not in the broad, like I can't travel to cheat. You know what I mean? Like I don't have those same options, but within my own city, I would have those same options.
But see, I disagree with everything you just said in the sense that, because we've had this discussion before,
Okay.
about high value.
Right.
Like, you can't, I don't think you can legitimately say you're not a high value man if your facts are you own your own home. The facts are your car is paid off. The facts are you have no debt. The facts are you take care of your business. The facts are you have money that you can travel anywhere to. You just don't have the means to get it readily available to you because you're protecting it.
Right.
But at any time you want your money, you can get it.
Right. Right. Right.
You see what I'm saying? So you can go anywhere anybody else is going. So you could take the money that you have in the bank, put that in your bank, and guess what? Now you have your 100 grand. So again, it's you have to take the whole person concept, and that's what people don't want to do. They think just because you make $100,000 that you're high value, that don't mean shit because that means that you still may be a butthole of a man.
Right.
If
Right.
we're talking high value, and this is where people lose it, the whole term came about because of what women seek.
That's facts. That is yes. That's
It's what women
absolute.
seek. When
Yes.
they don't seek a cheater.
Yep.
So you just took yourself out of the game. They don't seek a man who can take his women across the world behind her back. Like, so no, you don't even qualify as high value if that's what you're doing because high value is only ranked by what the higher women seek in a man.
Mm.
And
Mm.
right now, the high thing is women seek a man with money. Okay, that is true until they're not. So now you have a pocket full of women who make what make their own money, make their bread. They're not putting up with your crap. So are you really high value at that point if a woman can basically put you in check?
That's a big piece to that now is that the earning power of women is getting pretty tremendous. And even if in some cases, like the high value man, if women are calling themselves bosses or entrepreneurs and things like that, even if they're not at that status, the fact that they're carrying that much confidence to say, I don't need this from a person,
Right.
It does change the dynamic of a ranking system of saying, okay, I want this person because they can provide this for me. Because now it's like, well, no, I don't need it, because I can get it
I can get
X, Y, and Z
right.
sort of ways.